Okay, I think we're live. All right, cool. So tonight we are playing some B, really BX, but B, right? Because we're only playing the B, Dungeons and Dragons, and I'll try to stop this. Oh, good. And we're going to do a couple things here. We're going to be testing out my new combat system. This will be our second play test. Essentially, this system combines your attack and damage die rolls into a single D20 roll, and weapons modify both your attack bonus, so that's how you get your damage, and also your armor class. So we're gonna see how that works out. Last time we played a little bit of a higher level adventure where the characters could have whatever they wanted. Now we're doing a first level adventure. I had increased the price of armor and stuff to make it a little bit more challenging, so newer adventurers will not necessarily have as much gear. But in any case, we are playing an adventure from the Tremella Adventures book compendium. This is I've done a few of these already. Generally, I think we've run all of them, or most of them anyways, in BX, which I like, but this is a system agnostic book, so it can be played in any system. And as we begin this adventure, give a little background here. About 500 or so years ago, the Queen of Martai, this is a legend, of course, enlisted her mage to essentially close off herself and her most favored servants and nobility in a timeless world so that she could live forever. Of course, nobody's heard from this queen or any of those people in 500 years. So the thought is that either they never really existed, or possibly if they did by now, surely they are dead, because nobody has mastered the art of living forever, not even the elves. So what you do know is that if these rumors are true, this queen, who was the queen of all the lands, held 3 crowns, one of diamonds, one of emeralds, and one of rubies. And these would be absolutely priceless. And, being adventurers and always on the lookout for anything that could fill your coffers, you guys have purchased or acquired somehow a map that has led you essentially through some barren areas of the realm. You maybe had some scrapes with a couple of orcs or goblins or who knows what else to get to this, what you see in front of you now, which is, it seems like it's this was done quite a bit in antiquity, some kind of a keep that's built into the side of the mountain. From many angles, you wouldn't even be able to see it. But what really stands out is the stone bridge over, not a very deep, but over a chasm. The bridge is now deteriorated and broken apart. But you see, as the light from the fading sun kind of moves in at an angle, you can actually see into this entranceway that goes beyond the bridge. And what you see there is pillars and steps, and it looks like an incredibly fine stone. So that being said, you feel like you've found the spot that you were looking for. So as you're kind of looking across and figuring how you might enter this area, I'll have you guys intro your characters and we'll go from there. So I will go like this, and I will start with Tony.
You will never amount to anything. Get your stuff and get out and go with the humans and live with them. We hear the voice of the elf father yelling at his younger son. We go back now to the present as we see the young elf there who has let his hair grow out and is very long and very thick and not really well groomed. He still has the handsomeness of the sea shade family in his face, but his disposition, sometimes sour, can turn his charismatic way as he's standing there and he says under his breath, I'll show you, Father. I will find these crowns and I will return them, and I will become known in the lands of the humans, the elves, the dwarves, the halflings, and everyone. I will do it. I will succeed. That is Mudil Seashade, the elf.
Excellent. Excellent. And Crystal.
We're taken back to a dark, stormy day. The rain is hitting hard against the thatch roof as man and woman sit with a candle between them. The man sighs. I don't get it. I just don't get why you gotta go out there. But if this is something you feel you have to do, well, I'll keep this candle lit for you. And when you come back, you will find that it is always on. I love you, Edith, the man says. And with that, the woman stands up and pulls her cloak over her head and walks from her home. And that is Edith, who now stands outside the ruins of this castle, looking at it.
Excellent.
With her heart pounding.
Awesome. And finally, Nikki.
Okay. You see a young woman with long whitish blonde hair. She has clutched in her hand a holy symbol that looks like a medallion of a road traveling into a sunrise. And she is saying a little prayer. She says, Lathander, my morning lord, please give me strength as I tackle this challenge, the first of what I hope to be many. And please give me strength to conquer this hovel where there is no renewal, there is no new birth, there is just eternal life, which is anathema to anybody who values the cycle of life. And I am playing Belira, a cleric.
Excellent. All right. So you see, like I said, in front of you, I'm going to give you a picture here. There's a bit of a chasm. It drops down about 30 or 40 feet. And then, then it gets to kind of like a bit of a smoother area. And then then there's like a deeper chasm that's not very wide at all. You could easily jump over it, maybe 4 or 5 feet wide. And then, it slopes back up to the other side. Clearly this bridge was put there, ages ago to allow for easy egress, but the bridge is now out. You've got about a 50-foot or so expanse to cross. On your side, there, you're in a forested area near the mountains. On the other side, like I say, you can see with the light kind of coming down at the end of the day, it's kind of coming in an angle. You can see that beyond these kind of columns that are kind of set in the side of the mountain, you can see what appears to would have been a beautiful, built structure inside, stonework, etc. Nobody here's a dwarf, right? You got an elf and 2 humans. So you can't really date it or whatever, but you can tell it's ancient, and you had the map, so you feel like you're probably here. So what do you guys want to do?
Edith will step up to the mouth of this cavern, and she'll look down and she'll say, what do you think, Muledil? Can you see anything? I've heard that that your kind can see things that we humans can't.
Yes, I can see certain things in the darkness of the deal. I guess our first thing to do is to get across the best we can. I'm pretty young and limber myself. I don't know about you two, though.
I'm young, but I'm not necessarily that limber, but we don't have a choice. We have to try to get over there.
How large is the gap?
If you were from one end to the other, if you had been walking across the bridge about 50 feet, It's about 20 foot or so deep, though, and it kind of goes down. It's steep, but it's not like a drop. I mean, you could, with the use of rope or like a good climb skill, you could get down. Of course, you'd have to get back up the other side too, but that's also about another 20 foot.
Maybe you should
Are
let me
there
go
any,
first,
like-
and I will take the rope and secure the rope and hold it while you two come down.
Are there any like trees in the area that we could cut down and lay across?
Yeah, I mean, you're at the edge of a forest, cut down. I mean, have you got an axe?
Yeah, right, true.
Can you guys actually put your characters' names, their classes? I guess your armor class is going to change. That's not going to matter. So the name of the classes in the thing, so I can actually know who, so I can remember the names. Please. Sorry, I should do that first. I guess, yeah, don't worry about the armor class. We'll figure that out. And yeah, so you've got trees. I mean, the closest tree to where you are is about maybe about 30 feet back, a little bit less.
Udil will start unraveling a rope, and yes, I'm going to start down, and you, when I get there, I will help secure it down at the bottom, and you two can come down then. And he's going to try to start, slowly making his way down the 20 foot.
All right, you be careful, Udell.
Do you want to go back and tie it to one of those trees, or the rest of the party's going to hold the end?
He's going to hand it to
I have
Edith and
iron
then hold it.
spikes.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, so you're gonna hand it to them, and then you guys are gonna bang a spike into the ground. You can do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
Yep.
Yeah, so you're able to climb down. I mean, with the rope, and you're not really in a rush. You can make it down the 20 feet. No problem. And like I said, it goes down about 20 feet. It's a pretty steep way, but it's not super steep. I mean, it's not impossible. And then it kind of gets more gradual, and then maybe you walk a little forward to look, and you can see that again, maybe 5 foot wide, so fairly easy to jump. There's like what looks like a giant crack in the ground. Basically, when you look into that seems to go down very far, and you can see that there's actually that's more like a proper chasm. And as you kind of look down, you can see that there's various spots in it where there's kind of maybe lack of better word, like cave entrances or whatever, like water might come through the actual side. So you can see it's kind of speckled with holes. Some maybe wide enough to crawl through, most small, foot or so. So yeah, so you're at the bottom. Are y'all just gonna climb down?
Yeah, I was gonna say once he's down, I'll climb down after him using the rope and spike that Edith provided.
Okay, yeah, definitely. So you climb down. Same thing. You kind of look down into this spot. The other side of it, I guess I should say. So once you get to the other side of this opening, it's almost identical. It's like a mirror, basically. It's like kind of flat, and then it works its way up, and then eventually becomes pretty steep, right under the missing bridge, basically.
Edith will climb down as well. Like one, I guess as they're going to the other side or whatever.
Okay,
And
yeah.
she'll go. Woo, my youngest boy would have loved this. He used to always love climbing in holes and come home with covered in all kinds of dirt and grime.
Cool. Yeah, you get to the bottom, right? So far, so good. No issues. Like I said, you got about a 5 foot if you want to jump across. And then, the other side, you have to, get yourself up.
Udil doesn't even think about it. He just takes off running and jumps across the chasm.
Okay. Nice.
Yep.
With elven dexterity, you leap across, no problem.
Yeah, I'll leap across. I'll try.
Is there something I should know?
Oh, I just didn't roll very high dex.
Yeah,
It's not the worst in the world. Just not
It's
PC
not very
dex.
far. I mean, yeah,
Right.
if you're, is it below 10?
Oh no, it's like 11.
Oh, that's average. Yeah, you jump across. if you have at least average dex, you don't have to roll, or there's no issue at all. You leap right across. It's only 5 feet. I mean, a 5-foot gap is pretty far, but not so far for an adult that's in good shape. So,
But my intelligence is 6, so maybe I think it's deeper than it, or farther than
well,
it
it's
is.
very deep. It's not very wide.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you could have psyched yourself out, I guess, right? But yeah, you're able to get across. It's not really an issue, and nobody's in heavy armor. I'm assuming because nobody could really afford it.
Couldn't afford it.
So yeah. Yeah, so you guys leap across, and again, you've got this. You can definitely walk, because again, this whole thing's about 50 foot wide, so you're right around the middle of it now, between the pretty steady slope and then this. So, you can walk like another 20 or so feet, kind of progressively up until you reach a point where it's pretty sheer. It's not impossible to climb, but if you want to try to just climb it unassisted, it would definitely be some kind of a roll on your strength or something.
Udil will look at Edith and go, if you have enough rope, I can climb on up to the top and secure a rope and throw back down to you and Belra.
Oh, I do have a rope. Are you sure that you want to climb this? I'm pretty strong. I got some pretty good arms on me. Had
Well,
to
you
chase
may-
around kids all my life, so that puts a little bit of strength in your arms.
You may have the strength in your arms, but you do not have the a movement in your legs like I do.
All right. Well, I'll trust you, Mudil. Edith will say, and she'll tap him on the back and hand him her rope.
Okay.
Yep, and his plan is to try to climb up there and like secure the rope up some more top and throw it back down to him.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's craggly, so there's places to climb. It's just maybe a little bit tricky. So go ahead and maybe let's say roll a d20 under your strength.
Oh yeah, 2 out of 13.
Oh wow, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, you're able to, it doesn't even break a sweat. You're able to climb right to the top. It gets a little tricky as you get closer to the top, but you actually find a spot where some of the bridge kind of like fell partially and left like big chunks knocked out of the wall. So you kind of are able to get up there no problem. And via, I guess, using a spike, you brought the spikes up. You said you're able to bang the rope into this area here. It's kind of like a very kind of exquisite kind of granite bridge. Again, it's broken now, but you find a spot that's not broken, that's solid, and you bang a spike in. And with the help of rope, you guys will be able to climb up no problem. Assuming that you want to.
Yes.
That puts everybody up at the top. So, like I say, this is kind of into the side of a mountain. You've got these like beautifully carved pillars, kind of on either side of this archway. And as you're looking at the pillars, you can see that they don't seem to have any like writing or anything on them, but they're more kind of carved with like beautiful scenes of hunting. You can see the foxes being chased by hounds, and the fields being tended to, and you in kind of in the background, if you will, of these images, you always see this kind of this shape that looks like it's probably some kind of a castle. And when you look really close at it, every one of these inscriptions of this castle seems to have a lone figure kind of standing at the top of the walls of the castle, and you can just make out the 3 points of like a crown on the head of the figure. And, it's very small, so it's not like there's a lot of detail there. But you can look in beyond the columns into this hallway. It's about maybe 40 feet or so wide. Again, this like beautiful granite floor. It goes in for about 50 or so feet, and then you see some stairs going up. Again, the sun's kind of setting, so the light's actually shining in here, so you can see fairly deeply in. You see these stairs going up. They go up, maybe like 6-7 feet. So it's just like a little, ramp of stairs going up. At the top of those stairs, you see on either side, you see 2 arched doorways without doors, just doorways. But if you were to keep going straight, you see a large, beautifully ornate door that looks like it might be cut from a single piece, which seems impossible, of course. 2 pieces because doorway of ivory, and it is bound with bronze.
Edith will go, well, look at there. My eldest daughter would have loved this. She's the more artsy kind in our family, you know. She used to draw me all kinds of pictures when she was little.
It seems beautiful, but I have a feeling it does not reflect what's on the inside of this place.
That's true, too. Much like my eldest daughter.
So shall we go in?
What do you think, Nudell? Are you ready to go in?
Yes, whatever the things we were looking for, I'm sure will be on further in. And he'll walk up there and you'll start just examining the door.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So you walk in, like I said, it's plenty light right now. I mean, you are an elf, so you have information, so you'd be able to see a little bit anyways, but you walk up those stairs, you can see that now there's like debris and dust and like leaves or things that may have blown in from across the way, but as you're kind of walking, your feet are leaving like prints into the dust, and you can actually see where it's pushing away the ground. That again, this is beautiful work stone. If you knew any dwarves, they'd probably be pretty impressed. And you kind of walk up, and sure enough, the door does definitely seem to be made of ivory, although it's inexplicable how possibly there could be such a large piece of ivory. And it is bound in bronze, and you can see that it has like a seal on it. So there's no like handle or anything like that. There's like kind of a seal about maybe a foot wide. It almost looks like a wax seal that you might put on a parchment when you're going to send it, and they melt it down with like a signet ring or with a stamp. It kind of looks like that, but it's big, and it has that same castle shape with the little figure standing on top with the crown, and it seems to be holding the doors. You got the doors like this, so the seal's like kind of over both of them, blocking it. I mean, you definitely sense that this is some kind of a magical seal. I mean, you're an elf, you would know that.
Yeah, he'll put his hand, run his hand across it, like he's inspecting it or whatever. And then he will just reach down and try to open the door.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you touch it and you can actually feel like you through your mind, like your eyes are open clearly, but like it's almost like you're in a dream for just a second, and you feel the warmth of the sun kind of beating down on you, and the breeze of the trees and fresh smell of flowers. And you even hear like the scampering of animals in fields. And then it kind of passes. Even though this looks just like wax, like you should be able to just break it or whatever with your hand, it's harder than steel. Like you try to chip away at it, it just doesn't break, and it's closed, so you can't open the doors. By the way, I kind of mention this, but maybe if it wasn't clear, more or less now it's behind you because you walked up to the store. There's also 2 archways that you walk past, one on either side. Just for the sake of keeping things consistent, I'm just going to say you guys are headed north. So on the east and the west, there's both archways. To the east, there was through the arch, you saw a set of stairs going down into the darkness. And to the west, there was a set of stairs going up into the darkness.
I don't believe. Is it magical?
Yeah, maybe it has some type of set on it. I'm not going to get the door open. I do not believe we should maybe take one of the other ways.
That sounds like a good idea, Mudil. Maybe we'll find some sort of magical key mechanism of some kind, or another way in.
Well, I say since we have some light out still, we go up first. That other way seems to lead down into darkness, and we could check that out if we set camp there or something.
Up is fine with me. It's possible that the queen keeps her crowns in the attic instead of the basement.
What better place to keep a crown, right?
Right.
So yeah, so you turn and you can look. Again, these stairs go up. There's like some, this dim light like bouncing around, so it's not like absolute pitch blackness. But you do see that as the stairs rise up, they are going into a dark area. So who wants to go first, and how do you want to handle that, if at all?
You said it is kind of dark up on up.
Yeah, like you can see the stairs basically because I mean, imagine that like the stairs go up into like let's say a building with no windows, but you're
Okay.
in a lit area at the bottom. So like there's light bouncing around and you can see up there a bit, but you know that once you're up there, it's going to be dark.
It would appear that I probably should go first, having a little bit better vision than you two, but it appears that it's going to get dark enough that you two will probably need some type of artificial light once you get up to the top.
Well, I don't want to compromise your night vision or dark vision, but I do have a torch. So it's up to you. I can go first with a torch, or you
Well,
can.
maybe I should stay at least 20 feet ahead of you, maybe 30 at the most, to stay out of your torchlight.
Okay.
All right,
He'll
excellent.
start. He'll start going up.
All right, yeah. So you pull out the torch and start lighting it up with your tinderbox, and while you do that, Mudil will start to walk up the stairs. And these stairs are the same. You know, they're these like beautiful carved stairs. There's less debris on them because of kind of where they are, basically. And they go up what is essentially you kind of reach what you would imagine as the top flight. You know, because you can get to the top and you can see there's a wall in front of you, and it turns to the right. Just as you kind of hear like and smell the embers catching on the torch below you. You know, you're kind of up here. If you turn and look down the hall, we'll call it, to the right, you can see that floating in the air about 15 feet in front of you and about 4 feet off the ground, so about kind of mid height in the hallway, is a globe. It's as best as you can tell. It is transparent, and it seems to be full of snakes. And they're moving around. You can, you know, with the dark vision, you can kind of see the warm, like at first you see like a big blob, and then you see the snakes kind of inside this thing. Beyond it, another like 4 or 5 feet, there's just a wall.
Yeah, he will yell back down to Edith and Bale. And once you get up here and turn, do not be alarmed at what you see. I'm going to proceed on, but please do not stir them up because I think they are secure for now. But he doesn't really let on exactly what it is.
Okay. Do you want to move closer to them, or are you going to wait for?
Oh yeah, he'll move. Right, you know, once he sees them coming up the stairs torch, he'll move on up to stay out.
Okay.
Further.
Yep, we'll
All right,
come
perfect. Yeah, so you guys start to make your way up the stairs. You know, and you can kind of behind you. You can go ahead.
Edith will go ahead and like pull her dagger and her sword. So she mentions like, you know, there's something there, and she's just gonna kind of like shoulder her sword for now, and you know, be ready just in case.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, as you start to work your way up, and you know, you can kind of like sense the light flickering on the wall behind you as you kind of move closer to this thing. And yeah, sure enough, when you get close to it, you know, it's about 15 feet or so. Yeah, it seems to be floating as far as you can tell. You cannot hear any of the snakes inside, which makes you think it's completely sealed. But they are moving around and writhing, and they're doing it even more as you get closer to it. Some of them even kind of like picking up their heads like this, but none are like trying to strike or whatever as you approach it. And you're kind of probably taking this all in as the dark vision starts to fade a bit because the torch is now at the top of the stairs, and it's kind of like starting to illuminate it with natural, light that anybody can see. And as you get to the top of the stairs, Belria?
Belira.
Blair, I'll get that by the end. No, I won't.
Just keep the bells fine.
Valeria, Bell. So as you get to the top, Bell, you see basically your elven friend standing maybe a foot or two away from this globe that's kind of floating in the air that seems to be full of snakes. A few steps to the top, and then Edith is up there behind you. As the natural light kind of comes in, and you can see a little more detail. You see that all of the walls in this area are carved with would appear to be glyphs and some language that you've not seen before. It's not so much images and drawings as you've seen at the bottom. This seems to be more of kind of maybe possibly a magical nature, although it's hard to exactly place it. And one thing that you see immediately as the light hits these snakes is that they all have the pattern of their scales. All seem to be very plain, except for one that has a red shape on it near its head that seems to match that 3-point crown.
And this is the top, but this is the end of the staircase, right? There's no other way to go past them.
Yeah, if you were to kind of, you could squeeze past it if you wanted to, but the hallway seems to end about 5 feet beyond.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to Mudale will sneak on past if he can. You know, he's pretty limber, so he's going to go see if there's any secret doors over there on past
Okay.
that once they reach the end.
Sure, and you're an elf, so yeah, you get down there and start inspecting for secret doors. What do the other ones do? Other guys do?
Gonna back away a little bit. I don't really want the torch to accidentally catch this ball of snakes on fire. Because I can see that happening, and then we've got snakes everywhere. So I just back up a little bit while I wait for
snake ball is flammable.
My youngest boy would have loved this place. He loves snakes. He surprised me with one on my birthday once. It's not a good birthday gift.
So you check, as you're kind of, you guys are waiting for your elven friend to inspect the end of the hallway. There doesn't seem to be any kind of passage here, secret door, otherwise. Basically a dead end.
Yeah, he'll return. Oh, excuse me. He'll return back, and sneak back around and go, I believe we are going to have to go down now. There's nowhere else to go from up here that I can find.
And you said the pattern on the snakes looks like the crown and
only
not
on
the
one
thing
of them.
On the door?
Well, the thing on the door had the crown.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the only one snake has that. The rest of them just look like regular snakes.
Okay. I guess we'll go down.
Yes, let us go down from this place, from these snakes.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so you reverse your order and you head back to that kind of main chamber, and then you head what is the down way, basically to the east, assuming you're keeping the same plan. Meldo, you'll go down a set of stairs about 10-15 feet, and then basically there's like a small platform, and then it turns basically to the south. You follow that down, and there's kind of an archway in front of you that opens up into a room. This room is, you can actually hear as you kind of approach the sound of water trickling. And as you kind of come and look into this room, what you see is on the wall, one of the walls, you see what is basically a fountain. There's water kind of coming out into this kind of basin. And you can kind of see the coolness of the water. And then it seems to be draining, there's like maybe an inch of water in there, and you can kind of get that kind of musty smell of water that's been sitting. But it's draining now kind of out of the bottom of it. And then the floor beyond that point is slanted slightly. And there seems to be like a little, like a narrow kind of cutout where the water's running. And it's going further to the south through like kind of a skinnier hallway. I mean, it's wide enough for a person to walk down, but it's skinnier than your typical hallway. The room itself otherwise is about 20 foot square. There also seems to be like relief carvings on these walls. Otherwise, it's empty from what you can see.
So the only way to go is the one way with the narrow passage?
Yeah, there's a narrow passage that leads out where the water's going if you want to keep going through the room. Otherwise, yeah, the room itself is appears to be empty besides the fountain. And, some debris and stuff.
Yeah, unless, Mew will continue that way unless, Edith or Belle would tell them to stop, if they wanted to stop and inspect the fountain.
I do want to look at the fountain with the torch. I mean, nothing interesting particularly about it, or?
Sure. So I'm sorry, are you going to wait for them to get there and look at the fountain, or are you just going to keep moving? Muto.
He'll move on a little bit down that way,
Okay.
down the passageway. Probably 15 feet away.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so you pass through the area, and you can hear the water and kind of smell the mustiness. Behind you, you see the kind of torch starting to flicker on the wall, so you want to move to keep your dark vision. So you move on into the skinnier corridor, and it's like maybe like 4 or 5 foot wide, so it's not super skinny, but you can reach out and easily touch both walls. Near your feet, you can hear that water kind of running through that little trench. And you move forward, and your information stretches out quite a bit. So you move forward, and you can see that the corridor ends after about 15 feet, and it seems to open up into basically a nothing space. So you kind of like you move forward, and you can see there's basically like a chasm here, kind of like the chasm that you saw outside, except this one is interior. So it's quite it's quite deep. Because as you look around, you don't really see. Actually, let me see what you see. Yeah, you don't really see like even the bottom. So you're looking and you just see darkness, and out as well. So it's at least like 30, 40 foot deep beyond your infravision, and also out. So it's kind of like and you can smell a little bit of like, though not much, a little bit of like the mustiness because the water is coming off the side and going down into there. In fact, you probably even hear the water dripping down.
And how wide was it?
You can't, at least 30 feet. It's hard to really say because it's so dark. Like it's so cold in there that everything is kind of the same temperature. So it's hard to really get a good bead on it without an actual light source. It's one of those spaces that's kind of a musty cave. But as you're kind of contemplating that, you are surprised from above, and it is going to take a bite at you. And I'll tell you what it is if you live to see it.
Oh, no.
Let's see. 11, 18.
That would be my base. I believe.
Okay. So it crits you. Okay. A spider. Classic.
Oh, God.
From above. Reaches down to swipe at you and kind of clamp you, but maybe you move it the right thing. And what did you have in your hand? Probably.
He would have been walking with his short sword out.
Yeah. So short sword down the cavern, and you are. There's a spider above you as you look up, and we're in initiative. So go ahead and what do you want to do?
He's running back towards the room where Edith and them are.
Okay, you're gonna retreat. Okay, good. So go ahead and roll initiative against the spider. It's gonna try
and
to
he he's not gonna say anything. He's just gonna he's not even. It's caught him by surprise. He don't even say. He just takes off running back there. I had a 3.
Okay, nice. Yeah, you go first. So yeah, you run. It's kind of in an awkward position, and actually it cannot fit through the thing. I don't think. I just realized that. Let me just quickly check on the spider, but I'm pretty sure it can't fit. So I'm just gonna say it can't fit. So yeah, it like you hear the arms like tickling behind you, but you run past. And you know that there's a spider. I mean, maybe it could probably get through if it went sideways or something, but right now it seems like it's not coming behind you as you run into the room, and you're a bit blinded by the torchlight as the rest of the party is just entering the area, and you guys see that fountain there. So,
Okay. Mudiel, what happened? Why do you run so?
There was a very large spider come down. The passageway ends at a very deep cavern, even deeper than the one we saw coming in. And a very large spider come down and took a swing at me and knocked my sword out of my hand into the chasm. We do not need to go back down that way. There's no way out of there that I see.
Okay.
Here, have my dagger.
Well, I have a dagger. My grandfather gave me this one. I will use it and hold on to it tighter, I hope, than the sword.
I hope so. Do you think the spider can come at us, or can we look at the fountain?
Yeah, you can look at the fountain, sure. Being you're a cleric and all that, you get a very good sense, like as soon as you are kind of looking at it, that this fountain was blessed. It probably, in its day, probably flowed like heavily and pure. Now it's but a trickle, but the water itself seems to be blessed. And you're in here with the torch, you're kind of seeing the walls, and you can actually see. And again, this stuff is very old, so it's beyond maybe memory as far as the languages. But you can see that by just the general shapes and the looks of the various frescoes in here, that there's signs of like hospitality and greeting kind of shown on the walls.
If there's like clearly blessed and like still drinkable water here, Edith will like empty her water skin and fill it up with this blessed water.
Oh yeah, I was gonna do the same thing. This water seems
Okay.
to be blessed, so we will try to take some with us. It might be helpful.
Yeah, you definitely can do that. I mean, it's not super fast, but you're not in a rush. I mean, you're in a little bit of a rush because you got the torch burning out. But yeah, it takes you maybe a turn to fill them up, both water skins. The spider never seems to follow,
Okay.
at least not now. And yeah, I mean, your torch is probably like a little more than halfway burnt out at this point.
Okay. I'll say, Valera will say, I think we might have to deal with the snakes. The one snake had the pattern with the crown on it. It might have something to do with whatever magic is on this lock. If the other snakes are normal, could we not all have a torch if we all have torches and try to keep the other ones at bay while we see what's up with the marked one?
Hey, question, Daniel. How big was that globe that the snakes were in? I mean, like the circumference.
It was like maybe like 18 inches, maybe a little
Okay.
bigger. Yeah, it's
Maybe
big,
we
but
maybe we can try to just pick up the whole globe and take the globe to that door and put the globe up there and see if it activates it.
Yeah, we can certainly. That's a good idea too. I just think we should all maybe have a torch or some kind of something to keep these other snakes away from us if it bursts open all of a sudden.
I have a torch. Well, I can light mine off yours.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I have a torch as well. I can light mine off of yours.
Okay.
Well, I will go up and see if the globe, if I can bring it to us. Y'all will stand at the base of the stairs then.
Do you want? I haven't given up my rope yet. Do you want to rope and like try to like bring it down like a balloon of snakes?
Oh no, I will go up there and see if I can grab it and bring it back and wish the best.
Okay.
all right. Yeah, so you guys are gonna wait in that room with the big door while Mudil goes up there alone to get the ball of snakes.
Yeah, I might go halfway up the stairs. I don't want to blind him with my torch, but I also don't want to be too far away if he all of a sudden starts screaming. He's got snakes all over him. So.
Same here.
All right, fair enough. You guys, those stairs are pretty wide, so you could easily, stand next to each other halfway up the stairs. So yeah, so you go up there, and again, now you're in the dark, so again you see this kind of like infrared, the snakes kind of in this. You can tell it's a ball, floating in the air, about 4 feet off the ground. So for you, it's probably like right near your head, being an elf. What do you want to do?
He's just gonna kind of like, take both arms like you were fixing to hug somebody, and just reach around and try to grab it and see if he can, grab it.
Okay, yeah, so you're just gonna grab the ball of snakes.
Yep.
Perfect. All right. Yeah, so you walk up and you reach out and you grab it and yeah, it feels very solid. And it's not. You actually feel like the weight give a little bit, like it's now no longer floating and you're holding it.
Yeah,
And,
he'll start his way back down. He'll start his way back down, man. The stairs.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Yes, you work your way down the stairs, and I guess the other two give you some space. I'm assuming.
Yeah, we'll back down, back away from him.
And the plan is to bring it to the door, I guess.
Yep,
right?
to the door.
Yeah. All right, perfect. Yeah, so you bring the ball of snakes towards the door, and as you do, you can actually feel it feels like it's getting almost like lighter. And you almost start to get a feeling like maybe not just it's getting lighter, but that everything, like almost like you got a little bit of, maybe you drank a little bit too much meat or something, like you're starting to get a little, like your head's getting a little full, and you kind of bring it up, and as soon as you get within a few inches of it, that you just like it almost like a magnet, like and sticks to the seal, which then kind of wraps, like the seal itself like wraps around this thing. So now there's just like this ball that's like completely covered, in this like wax, whatever you want to call it. And then it kind of drops to the ground, and maybe you all go, as it does it, but it hits the ground like, and like almost like a stone hitting the ground. And when you look at it, you can see that it's just like a very large now ball of granite, and the seal is no longer on the door.
I will try to open the door now.
Yeah, 100%.
Does the ball have any carvings on it? Does it look like it was carved with snakes, or is it just like a ball of granite now?
Yeah, as you look at it, right, at first you're like, oh, it's a ball of granite. It doesn't have carvings of snakes, but it has like, the granite has like the that kind of the texture, the stipple texture that's in granite. As you kind of look at it, you can see there's areas where it almost looks like there's like shapes of snakes like burnt into it. Very, very subtle. You'd have to kind of look for it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it probably has some value if you want to carry it, although it's going to be quite heavy.
Maybe on the way out and grab it.
Yeah, maybe on the way out. You don't carry that around with you right now. Although getting across the thing might be tricky.
Right.
But you'll figure it out when the time comes, if you make it that far. All right, great doors. Very good. So you push open the doors, and they open. Inside is soft light, almost like twilight. If you can imagine, like just after the sun drops at the end of the day, and that kind of bluish, cool light, like just after the warm light. This whole place seems to be flooded with it from no apparent source. The hallway seems to go down. It's about 15 feet wide. It goes down like about maybe 20 feet or so. And there's an archway. And of course, it's light, so you can see. It looks like it goes into a rounded room. And in the center of that room, there is a pool. And somewhere from above, you can't see it, just above the doorway, there's like a kind of a waterfall pouring down, like very, very gently, though, not like a heavy one, kind of pouring down into that pool. And you can see from where you are, too, that there's also another archway that would continue to go. So basically, if you imagine you're going north, you got like that bit of a hallway, archway, round room, on the other side of the room, archway. That's all you can see from here, in the water, of course. What you want to do?
Do you want to inspect this waterfall, Belle?
I do, yes. I was gonna say if it looks clear, I will move up to the pool and the waterfall.
Okay, excellent.
And die.
Let's see what happens. Okay, good. So you walk up, I guess probably still a torch in your hand because you hadn't thought to put it out yet because it's strange that it's suddenly lit near. But you walk up to the waterfall, and you can see as you enter into this room, it is a rounded room, as noted. And again, I'm just using these general directions so you have an idea. Basically, the waterfall is coming from the west, and when you look up, there seems to be almost like a carved piece of stone. Like it looks very, very man-made, although, what man could have made it, you don't know. Kind of coming out like a big pipe, essentially, and the water is coming out of that. It's pouring into the center of this room where there's this pool, and you look down, and the pool is about maybe 2 feet deep. The pool itself is about 10-foot circumference. There's a small, almost like what you probably noticed. I guess you filled up your canteens in the other room. You saw it. How there was like that bit of a tunnel in the ground, like a bit of a ditch or a trough, or whatever I call it. A similar thing is coming out of this pool and going to the east. Down another archway. So essentially in this room, you've got 3 archways that lead out. One you're standing in. One is on the other side of the room. And then one is to the east where this like small river, we'll call it, like basically a funnel of water, a tunnel. There must be a word for that. I'll think of the word by the end of this whole thing. There's like like a drain, basically. It looks like a drain. The drain just doesn't sound very elegant, but it's like a drain, basically. And if you were to continue to go north, you can actually see now, even with the water kind of pouring down. It's a bit misty in here. You can see that the hallway continues and there's some stairs going up. But even more noticeable than all of that, the entire room is covered in beautiful frescoes of like forest glades. Like you get this feeling as you're looking at this that almost like you could be standing in this beautiful, unknown area of this forest where you just stumbled upon this like beautiful natural spring pouring down. There's like mist in the air. You can almost hear animals just in your mind because it's so elegant, these frescoes. And they cover all around the walls. And even when you look up to the ceiling, which is kind of domed, you can actually see what looks like the trees kind of covering above you. And what would be like kind of, again, like a twilight hour. So like kind of bluish sky, like a dark, deep blue sky with just like hints of the very beginning of stars. And it's very, very peaceful. So you just step in the room, it feels very, very peaceful as you're kind of looking in.
Wow, do you think I could find someone here to give my daughter some painting lessons?
I think whoever did this is long gone. Edith, this all seems quite old, beautiful though it is. Sweet Lathander, what happened here? Does all the water seem blessed, or just that fountain?
Yeah, this water also seems very, very much
Blessed.
Mhm.
Which way do y'all suggest to go?
We could either follow the water, or we could see what's through that other archway first.
Well, I feel like I could get lost in this place. Let us see what is beyond the other archway first. Perhaps it is an interior of some kind.
So we'll go to the arch that's not following the water to the east.
So let me just check something. Sorry.
I think, is that what you said, Edith?
Yeah, east would be. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
Of course, I'm fine with whatever we said.
So as you're kind of walking into the room and kind of taking in the feel of it, getting ready to move through, actually, Muad'Dil, you're kind of looking up at the frescoes, and you notice that on the western wall, kind of above where the water's coming through, this kind of like, it kind of looks like stones up there where the water's coming in. It's fresco. You actually see what looks to be the outline of what would be like a concealed, what would you think, a concealed door. It's pretty small. Like if you were to try to go through it, you'd have to crawl because it's maybe like 2 feet, but you can definitely see this is a kind of outline up there in the rocks.
But it's about 30 feet up?
No, it's more like, yeah, like about 20. It's up there, yeah, for sure. It's right near that pipe, basically.
Yeah, he'll point it out to Edith and Belle, and then he kind of chuckles and goes, I don't think we should try to climb up there quite yet. We should exhaust our other ways to go.
Agreed.
Nice legs you have there, Muad'Dil. That will definitely be a line.
We will go the archway that you suggest, Edith, I believe, first.
To the east?
No, we're not going to follow the water, the other one.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, I was looking at the book, so I wasn't paying attention to you.
Oh,
Well, because you were discussing it, so I was looking. But all right, so I wanted to check something on what elves' chance for to see stuff.
DM doesn't pay attention.
Yeah.
Automatic no monsters, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, you get advantage on your next skill check. So yeah, so you make your way around the pool. It's easy to circumvent it and head towards the north. The hallway, kind of as you step out into this hallway again, it's a beautiful hallway. It's normally you'd be like, wow, this hallway is really beautiful and the granite and everything. But when you step out of that glade, it's almost like a little depressing because it was so beautiful in there that even just the splendor, the splendor of like this hallway, which would be considered like by royalty to be something that would be sought after, it seems kind of a downer. But anyways, you move forward about maybe 15 or so feet. There's another set of stairs going up. Again, these like wide like stairs that go up like half a staircase, if you will. You go up, and you walk a bit more, and then the hallway kind of ends. And to your left, which would be again west, there's another set of these stairs going up, and kind of the wide, not that long staircase going up. And at the top of it, you see a kind of a beautiful door, similar to the door that you came in from, the very first door that was made out of ivory. This door, though, is open, and you can hear just a faint sound of music. But on the east wall, there is kind of a niche, and in the niche, there is a statue of a beautiful woman wearing, this spectacular crown as she stands very austere.
And the crown's like a stone made out of with the statue.
Yeah, it is. It's basically, if you look at it, the whole statue itself is marble. It's a marble statue, and the whole thing is one solid piece, as far as you can tell when you're looking at it. You look at it and check it out. The crown is. It looks like it was probably painted at some point, but the paint is faded. With time. So
do we all hear the music, or is it just me?
Yep, everybody hears it. It's very soft.
Udil will turn back towards Edith and Dale and go, "We must find out what it sounds like music to see if it really is where it's coming from," and he'll start heading that way.
Quick question: is there still light up here, or should I light another torch?
Yes.
There's still light. Okay, so
the whole place has that feeling. Yep.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah. So you guys make your way up that staircase. Again, the door's open a bit, so maybe you peek in first to make sure there's no dragons there or anything. And you're looking down a hallway. Again, just like the other hallways you've seen, this beautiful, simple but beautiful hallway. It goes about 20 feet, and at the end of it, you see an archway, kind of a smaller archway, kind of like the ones you saw when you first came in. They're just big enough for like a regular doorway, if you will. It is open, and there's no door or anything. And right before that, though, to the right-hand side, which would be going north, you see a set of stairs. They seem to be going up, like the stairs just come into the hallway. We can see them. And let's see, I guess you can see in there. So you can see into that archway, and it seems to go into this area that is kind of, now you're in this kind of beautiful kind of twilight light. There seems to be something like with a warm glow, like possibly a candle or a fire, lighting the inside of that archway area. But as you kind of stare at it, it's not flickering like a fire was. It's pretty solid, pretty it's a steady light. So where you want to go?
You'll continue
Sorry, go ahead.
The music.
You can. It kind of seems like it's coming from both ways. It's coming from that direction, which is basically both the arch and the staircase kind of go in the same direction as the music. So
I'll go the archway first.
Okay.
So I Bill, there is music. You must have ears like my eldest son.
Oh wow, Crystal! I didn't hear a word you said. You had like a bunch of scratching in the background or something.
I apologize. It wasn't that important. Go on.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So you move, down this hallway as you're kind of making sound as you walk down the hallway, and so you get to that set of stairs, which is right before the archway, and you look at it. It seems to go up about 10 feet or so, and then it turns to the left, so you kind of can't see the top of the stairs. In the archway, though, as you get closer, you can look in there and you can see that there's this the frescoes in this room, as you're kind of looking in, are all these it's like you're on the top of a mountain, at sunrise. Like all the color is very warm and crisp, and there's like clouds, and you can see it almost looks like when you step into this room that you're standing and you're looking out around you, and you can see for miles and miles, all this like kingdom that is clearly not there now. It's definitely showing an ancient time, and these frescoes. But again, you can almost feel the wind blowing on you and the sun kind of on your skin as you stand there, kind of looking, at these beautiful frescoes. And you see that beyond the way you came into this room, there's there's basically a passageway to what will be the south, and otherwise the way you came. And the music seems to be coming from that passage.
Edith, by the way, she has put out her torch since it's plenty of light in here. And she has her dagger and sword she's carrying on her shoulder just in case. Better to, have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And she'll say, "Oh, that music's so lovely. Reminds me of my son Jeremy. He's also very musically inclined. He actually plays at our local tavern from time to time."
Well, that's wonderful. The Morning Lord loves creativity. But we need to find out where this music is coming from. Right, Mudiel?
Yes, and he'll continue the passageway you said.
Okay, yeah. So you take a right basically. And it kind of like goes a little bit, then it turns, and then you see a set of stairs going up, and you follow them. I'm assuming. And when you get to the top of the stairs, you're looking into a grand like ballroom essentially. There's at the far end, basically the opposite end of where you are. There's a grand a dais like with steps going up, and on it there's a throne. And sitting on the throne is a woman who looks just like that statue that you saw, except an actual woman, though she does not have a crown on her head. She has a cup in her hand. She has servants sitting near her, like tending to her, like polishing her toenails and stuff. And I mean, that's interesting, I suppose. But even more interesting is there's about 20 or more people in various states of dress. They seem to be frolicking and dancing and doing things that maybe you wouldn't necessarily do in public, and consuming food and drink. And they're all over the floor and very like in the corners, little orgies going on and people dancing, and off to one side there's a set of 3 minstrels that are playing this beautiful music. They are playing woodwinds. Woodwind instruments. Let's see. As you get to the top of the stairs, you can see there's also some beautiful hunting dogs up here, some hounds. They were kind of like laying on the side, and then when you come up, they immediately smell you and they stand up and they start growling a little bit as they're looking at you. But you can quickly see they're chained, so they're not a threat right this second. Nobody seems to be paying any attention to you because the nobility, as they seem to be, are frolicking and doing adult things, we'll say. And the other humans that you see in here are servants, apparently, and they are running frantically from place to place, trying to keep cups filled and wiping up messes that are caused by, occasional people tearing off clothing and throwing it across the room. And let me just see if they even see you. No, they have not noticed you at all as you get to the top of the stairs. Mule deal. And I guess the rest as you come behind.
He turns and looks back, kind of shocked towards Edith and Bale, and he goes, should not be any living people here still. Is that right? What manner of foul magics do you think this would be, Belle?
I don't know. They don't seem undead, but they're certainly not alive in any sense of the word that we would think of. So I'm not sure. I'm not even sure if they're completely corporeal. It's possible that what we're looking at here are ghosts.
Oh my, I know that position. That's how my 3rd child happened.
Was the queen known to engage in such lewd acts?
I mean, it's pretty much lost in history, but you can roll against your intelligence, but with the penalty of 4.
Oh God, that's not going to help me. I'll try it. Nope, 19.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, she was. No, yeah. Yeah. So you would be the most likely one to know because you are probably the oldest, I would assume. Although that's not necessarily true. Anybody can roll if they want, but you roll either add 4 to your roll or subtract 4 for your intelligence, whatever is
With
easier
an
for you.
intelligence of 6? Probably
Go for
not.
it.
I'll try.
It's D20.
Why not? Might as well. Penalty of 4.
Oh,
Yep.
well, no, I rolled an 8, so any other.
My intelligence is a 9, and I rolled a 9 plus 4 is a 13.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. I mean, you're not sure. This stuff is very old. Like you may have, like you guys are probably like, I think I may have heard, but maybe that wasn't attributed to her. So it's really hard to say. But as you're kind of figuring it out, you actually have noticed too, as you're kind of looking and maybe paying more attention, you can see that some of these people are actually like collapsed on the sun, like in the against the walls, like covered in sweat, and they seem to be exhausted. Other people, as you're kind of watching, that are dancing really hard, some of them just like fall to the ground, and then they just like crawling to get out of the way so other people don't dance over them. And while this is all going on, one of the noble looking people, who is standing kind of off towards where the queen is, sees you. And he's wearing armor. He's actually the only person here wearing armor. He has like a beautiful leather armor that is intricately carved, and it's very beautiful. And he points he has a war hammer. He points his hammer, and he says, "How dare you insult the queen?" And he points it at Edith, and he says, "I, Sir Umdered, challenge you." And he picks up a shield and starts walking towards you.
Oh, was that her in that position? I'm sorry. He kind of looks at the other dude.
Udil just steps aside to let you go forward.
Do you want to fight him, Edith, or do you want to try to leave the room and see if he follows?
Well, I feel like he's called me out by his honor. And if this is an honor fight, then I feel I guess I must do this.
And Mudil wants to approach. Can I approach one of the servants, one of the serving people? All right, I'm gonna do that while Edith does her.
Okay. Sure. To make it like a movie, we'll do it in between rounds. What's the plan with Belle?
Belle will take out her mace, and she's just going to kind of assess the situation. She's going to watch what happens with Edith and watch as Mudil goes over and talks to the servant.
Okay, so you step to the side as well. So he gets close to you. He's got his shield. He picked it up. He puts it down like by his side, and then he takes off his one of his gloves and he throws it on the ground in front of you. And he says, "What say you, vagrant?"
I apologize. I did not mean to in any way insult the queen. I do not wish to battle here.
Ignorance is no excuse, but I will kill you quickly because you apologized. And he picks up his shield.
I appreciate it. Do I get on the dagger with my attacks? When I attack with my sword, do I get the +3 for the dagger as well?
No.
Or okay.
No, only if you're going to attack with the dagger. And then you won't get So you can choose if you want to use the dagger instead. I don't know why you would do that, but if there was a reason you wanted to use the dagger, you would use that instead. But
I do get the armor class from it. Got it.
Yeah, it's basically you're using it defensively, so you wouldn't get it as an attack bonus. All right, yeah, he's unless you're I mean, what you want to do before you roll initiative?
Yeah, no, nothing. Let's go for it, I guess.
All right, you're gonna melee him? Okay. Go ahead,
Yeah.
roll initiative. D6. You can add your dex if you have a dex bonus because it's a one-on-one at this point. He does not have a dex bonus.
Okay.
He did roll a 6 though.
I rolled a 1.
Oh, okay. He says, he charges at you and he says, for the honor of the queen. Oh. All right. 20.
All right. I take damage.
Yep.
Okay. So I try to dodge his hit and it slides across my arm. I'll attack him now.
Okay.
Okay. Press one button. Okay. Ooh. Maybe not. Okay. Nothing. 16.
Nice. He defends it with his shield. And he says, I told you I'll finish you quickly. And he's going to melee again. Unless you want to do something else, let's roll initiative for the next round.
2.
2. You got 2 as well, all right? Simultaneous.
Yep.
All right, go ahead and go. And even if you kill him, he'll still get a move.
I doubt I'm not going to kill him with that 15. He blocks it.
No, yeah, totally blocks it with the shield again. And he says, ha, you foreigners are always so easily killed. Oh my God. 24.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm dead.
Oh,
Yeah, Yep, that's just enough to put me under. I'm a negative
all
1.
right. -1. All right. So he smacks you on the side of the head, and you fall back. Stand by. All right. So over at the servants, you make your way to a servant. They are rushing from. So in this room, besides where you came up, as you're kind of taking more of an assessment of it, up near where the queen is, on the other side of the room from where you came in, but on that same wall, which would be the south wall, there's a door, or an opening, I should say. But also on the north wall, basically across. So like you came in like in the corner. So there's a door over here and there's a door over here. The servants seem to be coming in and out of this door over here. So when you kind of head one off in that direction, they're carrying a tray of drinks. And what do you want to say?
Yeah, Mudil will, stop one of them and he goes, "What manner of celebration is this? What is this called? What is going on here?"
We must. It's almost over. It's almost over. The bell will ring soon. The bell will ring soon. The queen. I must here. And he tries to just like shove a drink in your face and not like give it to you basically, and then try to move past you.
Yeah, I won't stop them. And in fact, I probably haven't noticed what's going on with Edith because this has caught me so off guard. I'm going to move to to not the door they're going through, but the other door.
Okay, yeah. So you cross the floor, and probably just as you're getting there, you hear Edith's body hit the ground. But as you get to that door, the queen turns and looks at you and says, "How dare you try to enter my personal quarters? Who are you?"
I am the great Seashade Elf.
You may join my revelry, but not my bedroom.
Yes, and introductions, please. What may I call you?
I'm the queen, clearly. What land do you hail from?
Oh, it is far away, but we've heard of your greatness. But what was your name again?
I am the queen. You may call me your majesty.
Well, of course, your majesty, but is your name Elizabeth or Beth or Edith or Belle or...
That is not something you need to know. What's that sound? And you hear a bell ring. Ding, ding.
Can I hear like
Ding.
where it's coming from?
It seems to be echoing from everywhere.
Oh.
Actually, let me see if it is actually coming from a specific place. I don't think it is. It's like magic. Let me just make sure I'm telling you the truth there. Yeah, it's magic. Yeah. So this bell rings, and you actually feel like you've been traveling all day, when you got here, and you're probably a little bit tired, even though you're excited about this, coming into this place. But you actually feel yourself like renewed, almost like you just woke up in the morning. And you probably Belle notices as she's running towards Edith, to Edith's body. Edith you open your eyes and you feel like that you're 100% healed, like you just woke up, like none of that just happened.
There's no more room in hell.
Are all
I'm
the
so
people
sorry.
still here?
Yep, the people actually start to get up. The ones that were collapsed, they get up and they start talking in a more calm state, and the music is switched now to kind of like a more of a chill, slower pace thing, and people are just having conversations like, "Oh, I haven't seen you in a long time. It's good that you were able to journey here," and they're kind of having these conversations amongst
Does
themselves.
the queen take her eyes off me?
No, she's looking at you.
No. I'm going to take off running straight to her bedroom door.
All right. All right, you run through the door. She says,
And I'm gonna close. I'll go run in and close it and lock it if I can.
well, it's just a doorway. There's no, at least right here,
Okay.
there's no door. Yeah, so you run in, and when you do, you hear her yell. And you two guys, you can both roll D6s to see if you had your own thing going on, but if Edith or Belle rolls a 1 on a D6, you saw what just happened. Otherwise, you have no idea, because that might become relevant.
Nope. 4. Nope.
3.
Okay, yeah, so you don't notice. You're too involved in yourself, but Sir the Red runs towards the queen's at the queen's yelling. Okay, so you running down this hallway, and this is like a more narrow hallway, and it's just covered with like these most beautiful tapestries, and there's rugs all over the grounds. It's like you're running in, and you can barely hear your footsteps because it's so like beautifully like covered, and maybe you take a quick look up, and you can even see there's like drapes hanging from the ceiling. It's very, very awesome. And you run in, and you get like no more than 10 feet, and you see that there's a set of stairs going up to your right, or the hallway goes to your left, continues.
I'll wait over left.
All right, cool. So you run to the left. You go down about maybe 20 feet or so. It turns, like it doesn't, there's not like a turn, but it actually turns like as a curve. And as you are running in that direction, let me just check something. Nope. Okay. You run. Let's see where he is, because you're both only wearing leather armor, so he's just as fast as you are. You hear. Well, actually, you don't hear because this time. You turn the corner. Go around the corner, I should say. And you can see down in front of you, another about 15 feet. There's a doorway on the right-hand wall, or just opposite of that, there's a set of stairs going down, or it dead ends basically.
I'll run down to the doorway and try it.
Cool. Yeah. So you run to the doorway, and again, it's not a door; it's just open. But you're looking into what appears to be some kind of you do magic, right, as an elf, so it appears to be some kind of a magician's quarters. You can see a huge table in the middle that has like all these different strange powders and ingredients and things that you might recognize from books that you've seen, but you've probably never seen yourself. And laying there across this gigantic table, and then on the walls there's like tons of books. And off to one side there's a very large table that's covered in various different kinds of like dyes and pigments and brushes. And on the opposite wall of that, there is another archway. And let me just see if you.
Do I hear the guy coming behind me?
Yeah, so just as you're taking this all in, because you came into this room, and I'll say, I mean, it takes you a second to orient yourself, you actually hear a voice. And he says, "You, knave, you enter the court of the queen and the royal magician."
Oh wow, you froze up for me, Daniel.
Oh, am I still frozen? Still? Frozen?
No, there you go. Now you're back.
Oh, that's weird. Must be that time of day.
Huh.
All right, so back. So he says, how dare you enter the quarters of the queen and the royal magician? Your blood will be added to the dyes that we paint the halls. And he kind of points at you with his warhammer. And he says, I am Sir the Red, and you shall die today, sir. And yeah, he's going to come at you.
I'm going to run through the archway, that one archway. I see, to try to run away from him.
All right, roll initiative. See if you get to.
Ooh, a 6.
Oh, you also got a 6 simultaneous. Since you're running, and you go first. I'll let you go first. So he's just going to be right on your tail. That just reminded me from the scene from The Princess Bride, where he does the whole thing, and then the guy goes, and then he runs. You run into this space, and it is a relatively small room, maybe 10 by 10. There is a comfortable looking bed there, and at the foot of it there is a footlocker, and the walls are painted in the most glorious frescoes that seem to depict what you would imagine what it would be like to be a bird to fly, because and to see at night and see stars, and it's almost like almost a little dizzying. But as you come rushing in, there's really nowhere to go, so he's actually going to come up on you and attack you. All right, so here we go. Oh no, you only got a. But then again, you also.
I think I'm at 14 right now. Base 12,
okay.
Dex plus 2, so 14.
Oh, then you're perfect. Then you're good. So he only got a 10. So yeah, he misses. He swings the warhammer and misses. You're kind of cornered. I mean, you could get out the room if you really tried, but he's gonna, or you can fight him. It's up to you how you want to, unless you have a clever idea.
I want to run back to the lab, the wizard's lab, whatever you want to call it, where that table of stuff is. And is it, if I saw liquid or stuff, I want to run over there and I'm going to grab some of it and try to throw it on them, blind them.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Just because you have to run past him, I'm going to roll initiative. He's going to get an attack on you when you run past him, and then you can do what you got to do. Because he's literally in the doorway. Oh. 26.
That would be, so that would be 12 points of damage, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that put me at -8 then.
Oh,
You're
no.
still up?
You're like, I'm going to run. Yeah, he swings the warhammer. It hits you under the jaw, and you fly back and land softly in the bed.
Nice.
He looks at you and he shakes his head, and then he puts the hammer over his shoulder and starts to walk out. Meanwhile, because that was about 40 seconds, you're up now, Edith, and you remember fighting the guy, but for some reason you're just like you feel refreshed, both of you. Belle as well. Like it's like you had got a beautiful night's rest and the nicest inn you've ever stayed in, and a full meal, and you feel fully refreshed. And you're looking around and you don't see your friend anymore.
Edith will get up and she's going to go ahead and sheath her weapon because it didn't seem like there's anyone else around here right now.
Yeah, there's just a bunch of people dancing. There's some heavy petting going on, but no full on orgies. And yeah.
She kind of looks at Belra and kind of gives her I don't know kind of shrug.
Well, you were dead and now you're not, so there is definitely some very strong magic happening here, and it seems to have something to do with the bell that we heard.
Yeah, perhaps. Well.
But where's Mewdeal?
So
well, I guess you wouldn't know. You were dead.
Right. And what worries me, though, if we end this magic, what happens to us? Will I die again?
I don't know, honestly. I'm just an acolyte. I haven't gotten that far yet in the spell scrolls. Maybe we should present ourselves to the queen and see if we can ask her some questions. Or the person who says she's the queen.
Sure. Yes, I suppose I could try it. And Edith will walk up to the queen. I have a 16 charisma, so I get a +1 to reactions, just to let you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so she'll walk up and she will get basically on one knee and very much humble herself and say, "Oh, Your Majesty, What a lovely courtroom that a court area that you have here. I thank you very much for inviting me, such uh, lowly peasant, in your highness's eye, for sure.
She looks at you and she says, well, I must have people from all the lands represented here. So you are very welcome, but do not misstep and speak incorrectly to the nobles, or we will have a beheading. We haven't had one in a long time.
I completely understand. May I say, that gown is such a lovely shade. It really complements your deep and generous eyes.
What
Hey,
is?
Daniel, while she's talking to the queen, can
Uh,
I look back at the room and try to turn undead? See if any of these people do that? Just
Hold on one second, Nikki. What would you? I missed part of what you said, Crystal.
She says that her gown is very lovely and
Her gown, okay,
it complements
okay.
her eyes. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, yeah. So she says, "Oh, thank you. Enjoy yourselves. Dance, revel, enjoy the finest wines." Yeah, you would know that they're not undead.
oh, okay.
I mean, you just know that as a cleric, yeah. They're not undead. They're just on.
Under another different magic, yeah.
Edith sees someone grab a bowl and speak a magic word, and all these like fruits and stuff begin to pile up enough to feed like 3 people.
Yeah, no. The servants continue to come, and they offer you wines and foods and stuff. If you're not, well, I mean, I guess you have your mace out still.
I do, but it's not in a threatening way. It's a non-threatening.
I have my mace out, but not in a threatening way. So you're standing there by the queen with your mace out, and the through the archway that's near the queen's throne comes Sir the Red, and he sees you and he says, "You there! How dare you threaten the queen? I, Sir the Red, will vanquish you." And he looks and he realizes that he already threw his glove on the other side of the room, and he's like, takes off his other one, and he throws it on the ground. Now completely ignoring Edith and focusing on.
I will fine then. I say fine. I'll take my mace and hold it like I'm gonna smash the queen's head in and say, "Don't come a step closer. I swear I will use it."
So you're going to run up.
I thought I was standing near the queen.
Just so I mean, you're not that close to the queen. I mean, to be able to, you would have
I'll run up to her then. Yep.
So you want to run to the top of the dais? Okay. So let's roll initiative then.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, you only got a 1 though.
I got 3.
All right. Yeah, you can do that. So you run up and you threaten the queen.
I do.
She looks like this. But one thing that you should learn is that even though she may be a lady, she's not completely helpless. And she casts a sleep spell. And you fall asleep.
Okay.
Bye-bye. And you're probably standing super close to as well. So you also fall asleep, Edith, as do a bunch of nobles.
Oh, goodness.
How long does that last for? This probably actually works out perfectly. In fact, I'm not even going to look it up because I'm just going to say, you awaken to the sound of a bell. Ding, ding. And as you're kind of opening your eyes, you see you guys are just laying on the ground, literally where you were. Well, you're not on the dais anymore. They dragged you to the floor. You see people getting up, most of them sweaty and half naked and exhausted. Also, deeper in the space, in a very comfortable bed in a small room, an elf wakes up. You open your eyes and you are not dead.
All right, and I wake up in that little bed chamber.
Yep, you're exactly where you were.
If I don't see the knight, I'm going to go. First thing I'm going to do is try to get in that footlocker.
Okay, sure. Let me just see. Oh, hold on. There is, in fact, somebody here. But who is here is the question. Oh, that's weird. That's actually kind of funny. So as you kind of you get down and you start trying to open the foot locker, which you can, it's not locked or anything. You hear like shallow breathing, and then what happened? And you kind of look. Let me see if he notices you. No, he does not. You look out kind of over your shoulder into that room where the table was, and you see another man laying there, and he's got like these like kind of nice clothes on, but like all like down the side of it is covered in blood. And he's getting up, and he's just like, I feel fine. But he kind of shakes his head, and he gets up and walks out of the room.
No, he never notices me. Okay.
Nope, doesn't notice you. Yeah, so the footlocker, you open it up, you see that there are some magical tomes in here, like a spell book, basically. You can tell that for sure, of a fairly advanced wizard. There's also some clothing.
I'm gonna take the spell book.
Yeah, and you know what? He wouldn't carry that around. There's also a scroll. And since it is a one shot, I'm just gonna. If you don't have read magic, I'm not gonna worry about it. It's a scroll of sleep.
Yep, I'll take it.
Otherwise, normal, clothing, stuff like that. No weapons or anything. Okay, so while you're doing that, back in the other room, you guys wake up.
Do we have our stuff on us?
Yeah, you literally just collapsed on the ground and nobody touched you. I mean, maybe the occasional orgy happened near you, but otherwise, you were untouched.
Are they kind of acting like nothing happened? Like I didn't run up there and threaten this person on the throne or anything like that?
Yeah. You don't. Yeah. You're laying on the ground. Your weapon is. If you look around, it's on the ground. It's not like right next to you, but actually, would it be on the ground? Yeah, it's on. It's there. It's on the ground.
Okay.
Yeah, the queen. You start to get up, and none of the nobles seem to care. The queen does look at you though, and she says, "Non-nobles are not allowed on the dais of the queen."
I'm very sorry, Your Majesty, and I'll go pick up and put my mace like on my back, in its holder, so I'm not threatening.
In your mace holder.
Mace holder, I don't know what to call my mace sheath.
Edith will smile and say, Your Majesty, I would like to thank you for welcoming such a peasant as myself to such a lavish party that must have cost you a fortune.
Money means nothing when it comes to the pleasures of the flesh. We must enjoy ourselves. So what's the point of being alive?
I agree. And may I say that your gown very much compliments your generous eyes.
She looks at you and kind of shakes her head.
At this point, we have no idea what happened to Mudeal, right?
No, you didn't see where he went, and you don't know how long you were asleep or anything. I mean, you just went out. Like basically, the last thing you remember, because you don't know she cast this spell on you clearly. The last thing you remember, you were threatening her. Next thing you know, you woke up.
Well, I think I would suggest to Edith that maybe we try to find a different room or leave this place and try to find something to tell us what's causing all this weird magic.
Your Majesty, I have journeyed far to come to your party. Do you have a washroom where I may be allowed to rinse myself?
She looks and she says, "Servant," and she calls over a servant and she says, "Bring this one to the entrance area, so she may be cleaned." And the servant says, "Follow me, follow me," and she starts to lead you back the way you came, basically. So as you're doing that, I'm assuming you're following, so you just ask for that.
Yeah.
It'll take you a little bit. Essentially, they're going to bring you all the ways back to the room where you first filled your canteen. So that's going to take a few rounds. So while that's happening, back in the wizard's bedroom.
Yep,
Yeah, so
I secure, his tome and that scroll, and then I see the guy walk out. I'm going to wait, to give him enough time to get out, and then I'm going to walk back out and look back down the hallway. Which I can go back the way I come, and is there any other way?
Yeah, so basically where you are now, basically you could go to the left, which is back the way you came, or you could go what would be straight for you now, which would be down a set of stairs.
Do I hear that guy? Which way he's walking? Do I happen to hear his footsteps?
No, because with all the padding in this hallway, you can't hear anybody. Like it's.
I want to. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, you. I was gonna say, even when you were running, like you couldn't hear anything.
I'm going to sneak back the way I come. Just take my time and walk real. Since the footsteps are kind of covered some, the sound of them, and walk back that way. And was there another way I could have went besides or was my mistake?
Yeah. There was when you first came into this area, there was a set of stairs to your right, or there was the left, and you took the left. So yeah, you can go back.
I'm gonna go up those stairs then. Go towards those stairs then and see what I see.
All right, so you start heading in that direction. Let me see if anything's in this hallway. Now we're encountering everything.
There's the knight again with his mace.
You come into this hallway, and you see, kind of blocking your way. Let's see if they notice you. Probably not. Nope. Are 3 people engaged in a sex act. They're kind of all over the ground.
Yeah, he'll just ignore them and keep walking.
Yeah, you should be able to just make a D20 under your dex to make sure you don't step on anything important.
Oh yeah, 12 out of 16.
Okay, yeah. So you finesse yourself by this this thing, and you kind of come up to like an intersection essentially. If you were to take a right, you kind of look down there and you can see it goes down about 10, 15 feet, and then it opens back up to the room where everybody's partying. Nobody's looking really in this direction. If you wanted to keep going straight, basically up those stairs that you didn't explore before, you could do that for sure.
Yeah, he's going to take a run up those stairs and to see what he sees.
Oh yeah, so you pass that hallway as quickly as possible, hoping not to be seen. And you are not. You run up the stairs and you find yourself on a platform, like basically a small room, for lack of a better word. Immediately to your left, there's a beautiful like it almost looks like it's cut. If you can imagine if there was a pearl that was big enough that a person could sit in, but hollowed out, that's what this looks like. Essentially a bath cut into the ground, and that blessed water is pouring into it. And then kind of coming out through the bottom. I guess you can't really see it, but you can actually see steam coming off it, like it's warm. And that's to your left. To your right, the hall goes down a little bit, and there is a door that is made of that ivory that you've seen before, like a single door.
He'll go to the door then. And
cool.
Is it closed? It's like
it's closed. Yeah, it's closed.
He's going to listen at it first to see if he happens to.
Fair enough. You don't hear anything. Sounds quiet. I mean, you can hear that water, so maybe it's a little bit hard to hear, but you don't hear anything through the door.
Yep, he'll try to open it then.
Okay, sure. Yeah, you turn the handle and start to open the door, and we'll cut back to the other crew. So yeah, this servant, I'm assuming that you both followed the servant. Is that correct, or am I not? Am I putting words in?
When we get like close to the exit door, like away from the queen, but like before we actually leave this room, Edith would actually just like say to the servant, like, I actually know my way from here. Thank you. You can return back to your other duties now.
Okay, where do you want to do that? While you're still in the room with the queen, or down by the front of the
like once we get away from the queen, before we leave this room, basically.
Well, anywhere in this room, the queen could see you. So if you want to do it in this room, then she's going to be able to see you if that's what you're trying to avoid. You'd have to go downstairs back to the room.
Before we get to where the sealed door was, is like what I want to do.
Oh yeah, I mean, you could do it any place. You could do it in the space where you're on top of the mountains. That would be the first place that the queen wouldn't be able to see you, or out by the statue of the queen, or in the room with the pool. Any of those places.
Yeah, just the first place where the queen wouldn't be able to see us.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the mountain area then. So basically, you're in that room that you feel like you're on top of the mountains. Yeah. So yeah, the servant nods. The servant does not go back the way they came. They actually go out into that hallway and then up that other set of stairs that you hadn't gone up before. And you're basically standing in that room that has that kind of warm light, like you're standing on top of a mountain, a bit of a breeze kind of coming over you. You can hear the birds, like hawks and eagles and other birds that fly in mountains.
Edith will look at Belra and kind of give her a shrug.
Well, I think we should either go up the other set of stairs near the Queen's room, or we should go back through that cistern type area and through the east archway. We need to find out more about the magic in this place.
Yeah, I'm worried about Mudil. Wait, I haven't seen him since my fight with that guard. Jeez, when was that?
I haven't either. We should have asked the servant if he'd have seen him. I'd have thought of it while he was still standing here.
Yeah, you're alone right now.
That set of stairs. We could go look for him.
Okay.
Okay, so you're going to go up that set of stairs. Okay, that's fine. You go up that set of stairs, basically the one that's in front of the arch that you went through to get to the mountain. So that goes up and then turns to what is your left, essentially. You follow that up a bit more, and you find yourself more or less, you're just outside the room where the revelers are. Basically, there's like that grand hall. You're kind of in an entryway that kind of leads in from what would be, if I'm using directions, would be the northeast corner. You could see that you could obviously walk in there, and servants are kind of going past you. Or you could go to the right, down to where you can smell the sound. You can smell the sounds. You can smell like the bread. You can smell bread baking, and you can smell like meat being cooked, and the smell of onion, and various other savory smells coming from the northern direction. Or of course you can see the grand hall.
Oh, do you smell that sound? It smells like bread bed. Delicious.
Maybe Mudil got hungry
and killed.
Maybe Mudil got hungry and went to the kitchens.
Yes. Let's go check and see if he's there.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So you move down towards the kitchen. You can see that there are a few cooks in here, and some people that are just like assistants to the cooks, I guess you would call. And then other servants are loading up trays. They're tapping into kegs of wine with cups that are pouring over, which you've seen before. And you see that they're prepping stuff as you walk in. And as you do that, we cut back to our elf, who is at the Queen's chamber. So you open the door and look in. You see that this room is primarily filled with a massive bed. It's probably 10 foot in both directions. It is covered with beautiful furs that, for all different types, like white foxes and mink and bears and anything you could possibly think of. It's just like covered with furs. And you see that there are what look to be windows. Lots of them kind of cut all around all the walls. And those windows are just basically inset areas with frescoes in there. And depending on which one you look at, like it looks like some of them look like you're looking out into a spring day, the winter, different locations, the sea. So as you kind of to quickly take them in, you can see that all these windows are different frescoes. And the entire room has this kind of like very soft glow. So it's still lit in here, but it's much darker than everywhere else has been. And there is a large like cabinet, like a wardrobe cabinet, whatever you want to call it, at the far wall.
Yep, I'll go over to the cabinet, the wardrobe cabinet, and see if it's open, or if I can try to open it.
Okay. Fair enough. That seems like a thing to do. Huh. Oh, interesting. All right. Yeah. It's unlocked. So you open it up, and what you're looking at is, it's a closet basically. Set back against the wall is a mirror that for you would be pretty much full length, about 5 feet tall. It's got an oval shape to it. It is gilded, so it's wrapped in gold essentially. A beautiful mirror, and right above it, so you'd have to get your tiptoes probably to hit him as an elf, is a shelf, and sitting on that shelf on little velvet pillows are 3 crowns. One of diamond, one of emerald, and one of ruby.
You do immediately upon seeing the crowns, just kind of gasp, and he's going to reach and grab each of them and put them in his sack.
Okay. Yeah, you realize that when you grab them, like the little pillows that they're on are kind of like you can lift it off, and the pillow is almost like a little bag, so you can like pull it around to keep it secure, and you kind of tie it tight, and you put them into your sack. And when you do, you look in the mirror, and behind you,
There's the Knight the Warhammer.
no, yeah, you look in the mirror and you see yourself as quite an old man, especially as an elf. You see yourself as quite an old man with a long white beard and kind of like, just a hint of wrinkles, because elves don't really get wrinkled, and like white hair, and kind of hunched a little bit as you're kind of looking at yourself. Make a save versus magic.
All right. Let's see what. That's a fail.
Okay. You feel, your body start to like wrench a bit, and you can actually feel like pain in your muscles, and you are going to age.
Oh.
Well, since elf age is kind of a little abstract, you're going to age to like a late middle age, because you're only a young kid, right? So,
Yep.
yeah, and you're going to lose 5 points of strength.
Oh yeah, that's bad.
Yeah.
Well, not too bad. It'll put me at 8.
Yeah, that's not terrible. I mean, at the end of the world. So yeah, so you basically, however you want to do that, maybe you get a bad knee or hurt back or arthritis, however you want to put that in. But essentially, your muscles just atrophy, however you want to role play. But basically, your hair gets a bit of white in it. You can feel yourself like just being what you would imagine it feels like to be old, because you are now.
Yeah, he immediately, that happening, he just gasp out, and seeing how it's really taking physical effect on him, he's going to exit the room as fast as he can, and he plans on going back the way, like towards that wizard's lab, knowing that there's another way out that way, because he doesn't want to go back to the ballroom, and he's not going to try to sneak through that, so he's going to go back to the wizard's lab and see what's down those other stairs that way.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so you come out into that kind of hallway with the bath area, I should say, first, and down the stairs, and you're kind of like waiting for a clear area to run past that door. And while you're doing that, let's go back to the kitchen. So yeah, you guys are in the kitchen. Servants are running around. They don't seem to be paying you much attention, unless you try to ask for something. They will just ignore you and continue what they're doing. But what you do see here is a kind of narrow archway with a set of stairs going down, beyond, of course, the way you came in.
We have to find Mew Deal or something. I would go down the stairs.
Okay, yeah.
If Edith is okay.
Let's see if we can do it. Okay, good. So you go down the stairs. It's a narrow, long set of stairs. Oh, potential spam is calling me.
Don't you love it?
And as you are, oh my God. You come down the set of stairs, and you enter into this room that is looks like kind of there's like low grade like bedding kind of spread around for about 12 or 15 people. It looks like, I mean, pretty clearly it's like servants' quarters. It's like, or it's definitely not noble, but there's definitely quarters there. But standing there over a body is Sir the Red.
Oh, jeez.
And he looks at you two and he says, "You have both violated the rule of the house, and I shall kill you both today." And he somehow got his gloves back. So he goes to, and he's like, he points his warhammer and he says, "Who will die first?" That's what you guys wanted.
Edith pulls her knife and then her sword.
Yeah, I'll pull the mace.
All right. Whoever wants to roll initiative on your side, let's. So what are you guys gonna? You're gonna melee him, basically, right?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So whoever wants to do it, go for it.
Go ahead, Crystal.
Okay.
It's not. It's group initiative now, so no adding of decks. If you were gonna do.
I don't have a dex, so.
Okay. What'd you get? I'm
Four.
sorry. Four.
Four.
Oh, you guys
Four.
go first. Yeah. He has his shield up and his warhammer.
Okay. Edith will. Ow! 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 Ow!
Well, not until he
Okay.
hits you.
Yeah. Edith will charge straight for him, and 25.
Oh, 25 hits. Let's see.
So she
That's a
kind
pretty
of
heavy
has
hit, dude.
learned his trick, so she like just slams full force into his shield like before he's really expecting it, and just stabs at him with her sword.
Nice. Yeah, he staggers back, but he spins, does the thing that people do in movies that nobody would ever really do. He spins the hammer around. Go ahead.
All right. I will go at him with my mace.
All right.
Natural 20 plus. Plus 27.
27.
I think I
Whoa.
did it right. I think so.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, 20 plus 7, because 4 plus 3. Yeah, okay. Because the mace is plus 4, just making sure we're doing this right. And then I had a plus 3 to melee because of strength was the plus 2 plus the 1 for the fighting, right? The fighting.
Yep.
Okay.
That
So
makes
yes,
sense.
27.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. He. Oh no, 27. That kills him. So he staggers back and he looks at you and he says, "Thank you," and then he drops dead.
You're welcome. And I will look at Edith and go, they can be killed, at least until the bell rings, maybe.
Edith will sheathe her dagger and pick up that shield.
Okay. You have a shield.
Yes.
And this is just obviously a servant's quarters. If we look around, there's no other way out of here.
There is another set of stairs going deeper down. Yeah, I mean, if you were to start to dig around and look through this stuff, like you see small, trinkets and stuff. If you want to loot the servants, you certainly could do that. But nothing amazingly valuable. Are you searching him?
Yeah, I'll search him.
I mean, he has a warhammer. He used to have a shield, but somebody jumped on that.
Yeah. That's fine. No,
She was like,
wouldn't.
shield. Shields are like gold. All right.
Yeah.
Which they should be. Let's see.
I will ask Edith, back the way we came in a different way or further down?
What kind of shield is it? Is it like a kite shield or is it like a round shield?
It's a kite shield. Yeah, he's like a old school like knight.
Nice.
Exactly.
Kind of cool. Yeah, so she kind of like polishes the shield a little bit and says, and then she kind of like snaps out of it and goes, I think it's obvious what needs to be done here. And she pulls her sword and says, we need to kill the queen.
Okay. You're probably right, but we can't get near her on the dais. Wait, I wouldn't really know that because I didn't know she cast sleep on me.
Well, I managed to get close to her once. Perhaps I can do it again. And she puts her sword back in her sheath.
Yeah, just to be, you were at the bottom of the stairs when she was talking to you. So you're a good 15 feet away when you're talking to her. You're definitely not close enough to attack her. Yeah, you can't get up to her without essentially entering into combat. Yeah, unless you want to use you can use a missile weapon. Just so that's clear. I mean, I wasn't clear about that. Like she's up on a thing.
Well, maybe we could figure out a way up there though, without entering combat. I mean, if one of us could perhaps impress her in some way, but I don't know. Not exactly sure how we could do that.
All right. Think on it. And you come back to the hallway there. So you look down and you can see the people reveling in the thing, and you cross across. The people that were you weren't gone that long, so they're still there. Maybe they're done, but who knows, right? But you get past them again, and you head back down towards the magician's room. So I'll get you back down to that spot. So basically, you've got the magician's room, and you guys have stairs going down.
Yep, I'll start down the stairs and see where it goes to where I can see.
Okay. Yeah, so you go down the set of stairs. They're not that steep, and there's a hallway in front of you. And again, all this place is like super over the top decorated with, all these tapestries. It's very quiet. It's like strangely quiet because like nothing makes sound, but you kind of hear just the slightest sound of water running. And as you walk forward, you can actually feel under your feet that water must be running like below where you are. Like you can below the flags. And you come down a little bit more, and you can see at the end of this hallway, there's like what looks like a door, but it's very small. It's only about 2 foot square.
Oh, well, would that think to him that seeing that door earlier, that was a small door, maybe? I mean, yeah, he's going to go to it then. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you go to that door and you pop it open, which you easily can from this side. It actually opens up right exactly what you're thinking, right above the pool, about 15, 20 feet above the pool, right next to where the water was coming from. You look down. Let me see if there's anybody in this room. There's nobody in the room. It's empty.
And the only way down would be to try to climb down or jump into the pool, I guess, huh?
Yeah, I mean, the pool's not tremendously deep, but you could try to like dangle and jump. It's about 15 feet. So, I mean, I'll give you some kind of a dex check to not take damage if you want to, if you don't have a rope or something, because you left your rope, right?
Yeah, I don't have the rope now. Now he's hobbling along because of age.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, around you, you've got this door clearly. You have the water. You got the room this hallway is full of like tapestries and rugs and stuff. The wizard room might have had stuff. It's hard to.
He's going to try to climb down, and if he starts to slip, then he's going to try to push himself back off where he'll fall in the water, of course.
Okay. Yes, it's going to be a strength check again, just to see if you can hold on to the wall.
No.
So
That's not good.
It's not ideal, but.
Oh my gosh, I made it a 3.
Oh, nice. All right. Yeah. So you're climbing down, and your grip is able to hold these very narrow. Because the fresco is basically just a bunch of small tiny stones. So you jam your fingers into it. Maybe by the time you get to the bottom, some of your fingernails are broken or whatever. But you get to that room, and you're standing there in the room with the pool. Essentially, that basically to your left are the doors you originally came in from, and then of course straight ahead is the unexplored area, and back. I'm sorry, to the right is the door you came in from. To the left is where you guys originally went there, and straight ahead would be that area that you guys didn't explore.
And he doesn't see or hear anybody at this point, right?
No, nobody.
Mudil mutters out, and he goes, "There's some foul magics here and such. I hate to do it, but I'm afraid that my 2 companions are lost somewhere. I don't think they ever will be found, and I have to prove to myself and my father he will not ever recognize me now unless somebody can take this spell away from me." He heads to the doors to exit the place.
Excellent.
As any elf would do.
Hey, you know what? Oh, nope. Yep. Okay. That was the last check to see if anybody saw you as you left. Nope. You walk out those doors. Maybe you close them, whatever. But you tell me as we go to the end here, and we say we're gonna. So I think we'll wrap up here. You guys can tell us how it's going to end, because I want to hear what you guys think you're going to do. It'll be more interesting than planned. So yeah. So I'll start with Mudil, since you made it out.
He hobbles his way back, and with what has happened to him, and he does think about Edith and Belle some on the way back, and then he says, "Well, we all have to do what we have to do to survive in this world, and sometimes you just have to do things that aren't right. But anyway, I've got to make it." And he'll go back to like some large magical academy or whatever and take those crowns. And he becomes famous for returning those crowns to the magical academy and the tome of books. He keeps the scroll though for himself, and he tries to trade it all in hopes of them returning him back to his youthfulness. And then he will go and see his father, and take him the news, show him, Father, I am as good as you are. And that's ends it from you, Dale.
Excellent, excellent. How about Edith? How does it end for Edith?
Edith and Belle, Belle, it starts with them making like different plans together and stuff like that. And each and every day that the night wakes up again is a new ordeal for Edith, to the point that she starts learning his moves fairly easily. And then she's able to get some nicer clothes from around here that the nobles just, leave lazily laying about as they go to their orgies in the evening. And she manages to dress herself up better over time. And over time, she begins to regale herself with this story of how she is a great warrior from a distant land. And she has come, to these places because she has heard about the queen. Every day she spends this yarn. When Sword Red attacks her, she makes a show of defeating him over and over again, slowly becoming enthralled to this world and to the bell that resets her every day.
Awesome. How about Belle?
Well, Belle had the idea to take the knight's armor and pretend to be him. She can't carry the sword, of course, because she's a cleric, but she can do her mace, and at one of the times when they kill him, she takes the shield from Edith and says, let me try something. And she'll go over and try to get up close enough to the queen to assassinate her. But it never works. And she continues to try to assassinate the queen in a never-ending loop. Because she really does not think that this is a very Lethandarian way to live. But unfortunately, she always gets put back to sleep, kills the guy, takes his armor, and it just never works. And that's how it ends for Valera.
Stuck in a loop forever.
At least a few of those times Edith has to try and stop Belle.
Right, exactly. That's how I kind of imagine it. Eventually it becomes Edith fighting Belle every time to
Yep.
and then soon you're taking the armor from Edith as it goes hundreds of years into the future. Excellent. So this was a test of the new combat system at lower levels. And the adventure was from Trimilla Adventures. This was Task of Zeichus, who was the wizard who you never got to actually meet. But I guess that's a story for another time.